Okay, now let's consider an example of an invalid argument. Consider the following one. All philosophers are hot. Justice is hot. Therefore, Justice is a philosopher. And I'm talking about a person named Justice. I picked that name because I found out that it's one of the most common names that's used for both male and female children today. But the argument, all philosophers are hot. Justice is hot. Therefore, Justice is a philosopher. Is that argument valid? Does that conclusion follow from those premises? Now, I said it's an invalid argument, so that should give you a hint. But remember, in asking and figuring out if the argument's valid, we have to go by or it helps to go by the definition of validity. So the question is, can you describe a situation without contradicting yourselves in which the premises are true, that is, all philosophers are hot and justice is hot, but a situation where three is false, where justice is not a philosopher. And that, I think, is pretty easy to describe. So it looks like we really can, right? I mean, let's say we're talking about Justice, whoever he or she is, and we say this is a very attractive person, but they don't know anything about philosophy. In that case, when we're assuming in this world that all philosophers are hot, in that case, we have an example, or what we'll call a counterexample, an example where the premises are true and the conclusion is false. That is, we're imagining a possible world. That is, we're not contradicting ourselves. Where all philosophers are hot, extremely attractive, and this person, Justice, happens to be hot, but he or she is not a philosopher, just doesn't know anything about philosophy. Well, I think we can describe that without contradicting ourselves. So this is what we call finding a counterexample, or using a counterexample to show that a certain argument is invalid. So notice our example of our valid argument a second ago, we could not describe such an example without contradicting ourselves. That's why it was valid. But if we can describe such an example, it's invalid, and the connection between the premises and the conclusion is not a logically strong one. It is not a good one.